Hello, how's it going today? I am really excited to get on here today and talk about a topic that is very close to my heart, which is pleasure. And of course, pleasure is something that everybody knows and seeks. And today I'd like to talk a little bit about pleasure in the context of married life. So, something that I've heard over the years many times, and it just came up for me recently, is this concept that some women feel that all their husband wants from them is sex. I should probably shouldn't say that word on YouTube. All their husband wants is intimacy. It's all, that's all I'm good for, is kind of how I hear it worded a lot of the time. That's all I think I'm good for. That's all he sees me as. And this is generally coming from women who have very robust lives. They have children, they have a home that they care for, and in some cases a career they also do outside of the home, probably a lot of friendships and other relationships too. And it really strikes me when I hear this because for me, and it hasn't always been this way, but I've gotten to a place in my life where the place that intimacy has with my husband in my life is my most heightened pleasure and spiritual experience. Maybe not the most spiritual thing I can do or whatever. I don't really want to classify it like that, but it is a huge part of my life, my health, my mental health. It's an essential activity within my marriage and my family life to keep our household in a really, really happy state. And when I hear women say, that's all I'm good for, it leads me into a place of understanding that there's a belief coming up there where you believe that you are not worthy of experiencing that pleasure in the same way that you feel your husband is worthy of experiencing it. Or you're not recognizing your worth. And perhaps your husband isn't doing a good job of giving you that recognition, like confirming and validating your worth to the family, to the household. So I'm here today to kind of discuss how you focusing on your own pleasure and your own connection in the bedroom, intimacy, like working on your life in that way, in the same way that you might other goals that you have. Like you had goals of getting married and having children and goals of, potentially buying a house or going on vacations or achieving certain degrees and career things. Maybe your goals are, I'm working on weight loss goals right now. Maybe your goals are fitness related goals, that kind of stuff. This is a priority in your married life. And for those who have a goal of maintaining a long marriage, I think this is a really important thing that you focus on and examine, why are these beliefs coming up for me? Why do I feel that this is all I'm good for in his eyes, or this is all he wants me for? And start to dig into actionable ways that you could communicate this with your partner, and maybe explain how you need more verbal validation, or you need more gifts, or some sort of breaks in your schedule, maybe date nights, that kind of stuff, to give him the opening, like the opportunity to serve you, your needs and validation. But there's a second piece to it of understanding your own worth and knowing that that isn't going to be able to come exclusively from other people's validation, but working on your own insecurities that are coming up of why you may or may not feel like you belong, or you have worth, or have other things to give that are outside of the physical act. Okay. So I am in a traditional, monogamous heterosexual marriage, right? And I'm also a stay-at-home mom, which is a little more rare in today's modern world. And because of that, I have seeked community. I've searched out community of other women who are trying to preserve, homemaking as a priority in their lives, that aren't doing like the more modern career woman lifestyle at the moment. And what I've run into in some of these circles is belief systems that come from Christian religions or maybe other kinds of religions. Generally, these kinds of topics are brought up along with Bible quotes that support this perspective. And I wasn't raised in any kind of religion, and I have kind of found my own spiritual path and connection with God in my own way. But being outside of the church and outside of the teachings of the Bible as I was developing, I haven't carried with me a lot of belief structures that I've noticed other people do have. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong necessarily, but I do find certain things can come up that seem really limiting in terms of our experience today in this world as modern married human beings. We have a very different world today. We have technology that is unexpected and has not been, available for many thousands of years with the human generations. We have technology called reliable birth control, right? And not everyone uses it, but most people in today's world, I think, depend on some sort of reliable birth control. We also have technology that brings information into us at a very rapid rate. So people are able to study and research far beyond the scope of, their little communities or maybe their little church or school that they grew up in, as was not available in generations past. So what the technology of birth control does is a lot with your body. You can look into this on your own. I'm not going to jump into the biology of it, but what it has allowed for is women to experience their own sexual life and their body in a way that they're still able to kind of control whether or not they have children. That's a huge, huge difference from the past. And with that, it can be very empowering in many, many ways, because women are no longer tied to the responsibility of childbearing if they don't want to be. So I'm going to look at my note here. One of the quotes that came up today from one of these communities I was describing that was using the Bible as their evidence-based is a quote that says, I quoted the woman, "It is our biblical duty to have sex to provide our husbands with sex because we love and trust them and God wants us to." And so this quote really struck me because it's so focused on the man. And that makes sense in terms of the context historically of what women had to be responsible for and endure when they were to be having sex, especially the power struggles that could have come up in the olden days, perhaps like the abusive nature of marriages in terms of the way men could legally own women in those days. And so it was kind of sad to me to read this when I considered the modern woman's way of life. For me, it's more important to serve my emotional and mental health to make sure I'm having intimacy with my husband on a regular basis. And that is not for him. Okay? It's for us as a couple. It's for he and I personally. But my motivation in achieving these goals have to do with my own life and my own self, not some sort of martyrdom towards him, which is how the Bible and this quote was being presented. So what I would like to share, and hope that this teaching will resonate and perhaps allow you to feel less burdened by responsibility or shame or this kind of martyrdom energy where you're doing things for other people, not for yourself, or you don't feel like you're worth anything unless you perform this act you don't want to perform. My goal and my prayer, my intention with this is that you will start to think of your intimate life as important as your mental health, your physical health, your children's lives, your friends' lives, all the other things that you kind of put in the front of your mind above perhaps your intimate life. A lot of it is really distracting you from achieving a higher potential and a higher connection with your spouse and creating a more harmonious life for yourself and a happier day for yourself, right? So, in my opinion, that intimate act is one of the highest vibrational experiences that we can have as humans. If you want to bring God into it and why people get married, I would say it has to do with keeping you in a healthy state. So a lot of things can kind of be coupled with this act. If you have past traumas that relate to it, or like I said, it brings up these lower vibrational emotions of shame or fear or unworthiness, or if you have experience with violence surrounding this topic, I encourage you to separate the intimacy from those other emotions and working on perhaps therapies and meditations and things that you can do to resolve that's coming up for you that might be separate from your husband or the experience of the marital act itself, right? Orgasms flood your body with all of the feel-good hormones, all of the natural antidepressants in your mind. And this is like a natural pharmacy that's just readily available for you. It is something you could access alone, right? But when you're with a long-term partner and you're entering that bubble of intimacy with them, they're mirroring your pleasure, you're mirroring theirs, and it really heightens and amplifies the experience for both of you. Not only that, if you're playing with it throughout the rest of your day or beforehand, you can cultivate an excitement and an energy that goes throughout your entire relationship. It's really not just limited to being in the bedroom. It's something that you're constantly playing within and thinking about and creating little jokes around, little things that everyone around you can feel energetically that you're putting out at that point. That excitement, that exuberance, that deep connection that you're feeling. Your children pick up on it. Everyone that you kind of go out in the rest of the world and talk to and touch, you're already in that energy of light and playful, happy, joyful. And to me, the marital act is giving, it's like the battery power behind it. It's like the energy source to allow you to continue to open up in the world to this energy and really heighten it for those you love and really for yourself. Yesterday, I was really, really grumpy, and I woke up thinking about like everything I had to do and all the stuff I needed to accomplish in the day, and my house is a mess, and my husband knew it, and he was trying to, coax me into a place where maybe we could get in the bedroom and shift my energies. And I really didn't want to hear it. And I wanted to yell and I wanted to be mad. But in the back of my mind, I knew this is probably going to be the best thing and help me to shift it. And of course, in the end, guess what? It was successful. So highly recommend scheduling, prioritizing, and focusing on this part of your life. It's going to help so much in so many ways. Much love to you. Enjoy.